Still loading.
I get those goosebumps every time, yeah, 713 through the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low key. I'm sipping low key and hiding. I get those goosebumps
Newcastle
every
United.
time. I'm coming around.
Wembley is a place for
You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments. I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the high, throw that to the side, yo. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around me, throw that to the side, yo. I get those goosebumps every time.
Hello and welcome to Loaded Mag NUFC, and we won a game, everybody. We're off the mark. Boys, I hope you remembered your shades.
Of course.
Yes. Well, now, welcome to Loaded Mag NUFC, home of Newcastle United and 3 points this weekend. Boys, how are you? Chris, start with you. How are you getting on?
Good, mate. Good. All the better for those 3 points. Going into the game, I'll be honest, boys, I was a little bit nervous because, we had our new number 27 up top. Wasn't quite sure what to expect, and obviously, missing Anthony Gordon, which I think is a really big miss. So yeah, and with some absolutely huge games coming up. Today was vital to get the 3 points. We look at the previous 3 games, and I personally, and I know you boys shared the same feeling. Newcastle took a little bit of stick recently, in terms of the results, the points that we've picked up. But I do think we'll look back at Villa away, Liverpool at home, and Leeds away, and go, do you know what? Getting the points that we got on the board isn't too bad, and now we can add another additional 3 to those. The table looks a little bit kinder. There's still some games to play, obviously, but yeah, no, I'm really, really pleased with the 3 points. So yeah, delighted, mate. Feeling buoyant this evening, because the last few weeks haven't quite been that, particularly at the end of the transfer window. But yeah, all good. Pete, how are you doing, mate?
All good. Buzzing at the result. Massive win. Yes, some people will say, oh, it's only Wolves. Oh, it was only 1-0. But that 3 points is so important for Newcastle United in what is going to be a bumper 4 weeks. Lots and lots of games to be played. Lots of important games to be played. So we needed to start this run with a win. And I'm so glad that we did that. So absolutely buzzing. We'll get into the intricacies of the game and all the rest of it in just a second. But I'm just so happy that we've got those 3 points, that first win on the board. Absolutely buzzing. The shades are back. Finally, it's been a while. Last game of the season as well. Last season were losses, so we didn't get to see these shades. They're back in business, and hopefully, everyone watching this channel, you'll be seeing these a little bit more. So Saturday night, brandy in hand. Cheers to you, boys. 3 points in the bag. Let's talk football. Let's go. Get to it.
I think I'm going to have to buy new shades to get because the arm is falling off these ones. But yeah, I don't have my other ones, as you know, are sitting in the Newcastle Foundation somewhere still. But before we get into things, we want to tell people about our new sponsor, and our new sponsor is Football Prizes. Now, as you can see there in the picture, there's a range of prizes on offer. There's 20 days left, just 20 days left now to get your prize in. Tickets normally cost 39p, but if you use the code LOADED10, And you'll find that in the description of this show as well. Loaded 10, it brings it down to 35p per ticket. Yes. 10% or so off, but so that's great. And look, there's a range of prizes there. There's that big one there. The standout one is a Bruno jersey with the TV in the middle of it, like that. Unreal. There's obviously cash prizes of £1,000, and there's in total there's 147 wins, including loads of jerseys and signed jerseys and loads of different things, and smaller prizes as well. But so when you do buy a ticket, you can win instantly, and the other ones then go into for the big draw at the end in 20 days time, which goes out live, not unloaded, but on football prizes. So we have no hand in the draw. You'd be happy to hear. So we can't mess it up. But so yeah, go check that out. And actually, we're going to. Oh, good man, Jordy 2 for life. You're forgiven for what you said the last day. I can't remember what you said. It was funny.
We've all purchased as well. Sorry, Dad.
Yes,
we've all purchased as well. We're all in with a chance. You're in with a chance. And look,
and Loaded Ultras. If you are a Loaded Mag, NUFC Loaded Ultra, you're in with a chance as well, because we're going to do our own draw tonight. And Chris, do you tell us what's going to happen in the draw?
Yeah, so the plan is this evening for Loaded Ultra members. So if you're not a member, please consider doing so. Loaded Ultra members are going to be entered into a prize draw. We're going to do 3 draws. We're going to do 5 draws this evening. 5 spins of the spinny wheel, and each person successful will win £10 worth of vouchers. I keep using the word vouchers, Daz. They will win £10 worth of tickets into that fantastic prize draw. So best of luck to all the members, and let's get spinning.
We're not going to spin yet, Chris. We're going to do the show first. We'll keep people waiting. No, just showing it. This is what we're. This is the new. We're going to keep people waiting, but let's get into what we're actually here for. What the viewers are here for as well, and that is the game. But one man on display today, and great to see him lining up for us, is Nick Woltemade. So great to see Nick there. What was he going to be on starting? That was the big question. Yeah, but also before the game as well, our new CEO, David H. David H. was in the stack as well, meeting and greeting loads of people in the stack. So if you got to meet him, nice one. So I'm taking some pictures as well. There's loads of pictures up online on that. But team news dropped. Boom. We obviously knew Wisa was out injured. I think Barnes has a newborn, so there was potentially a bit of doubt if he was going to start. Ramsey was obviously out, and Chris, you mentioned Gordon is out serving the second of his 3-match suspension. But yes, Nick starts. But Chris, talk us through the team.
Yeah, so do you know what? We weren't far off, were we, boys, in our prediction. We got our front 3 pretty much right. The biggest shock for me was probably that Kevin Trippier started. I didn't expect. I mean, Pete said that he thought Kevin Trippier may start, but I thought Lewis Hall would come in at left back. So yeah, I was a little bit surprised. But also, that being said, Tino Livramento has been absolutely outstanding at left back for Newcastle United. So it wasn't a huge shock. Obviously, the midfield 3 picks itself. I think we said, to be fair, during away days that we thought Jacob Ramsey would play, but then obviously subsequently when the pre-match press conference went out, we found out that Jacob Ramsey wasn't fit. So it was great to see Joe Linton back in the line, in the lineup. That midfield 3 of Joe Linton, Bruno, and Tonali is absolutely outstanding, and I always go into games incredibly confident when those 3 are lining up. So yeah, I was really, really happy with the lineup. And I was intrigued to see Nick Woltemade make his Newcastle United debut. So yeah, I went into it very confident. And again, Daz, as we've been saying in recent weeks and months, that bench just keeps getting stronger and stronger. Every time you look at the bench, you see the likes of Malik Chow, you see Sven Botman, you see Anthony Elanga, and you think, we've got some really, really good options here to come off the bench. So yeah, all looking good. And I was pleased with the lineup.
Pete, you happy with the lineup? Any surprises to you as they took the pitch?
No, not really. No. I was really happy. The only thing that I really cared about today was Nick Woltemade starting. He had to start. Even with the Wiesa situation, I think Nick Woltemade has to start. If your record signing isn't starting a game for Newcastle United, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for comments. You're asking for negativity being thrown your way. Why isn't he starting? You paid all that money for him, but he started today, and we'll talk about what he did on the pitch. So that was the only thing I was worried about. Everything else is up in the air. This squad of players is the most competitive it's been in the last 4 years. Well, certainly in the last 10 years, you can go back into the old era. We have a competitive squad. So other than Nick Woltemade, anyone else that played in and behind him would have been good enough to compete and win this game today. So for me, that was the only thing I was worried about.
People in the chat, there's about 175 people in the chat or so. Smash that like button as well. Keep it locked and loaded. Right, let's get into the game, boys. And also, before we do, this was the Wolves squad that took to the pitch. But straight away, Popey was called into action from the kickoff. He made 2 saves. And then was one of the first comments in the chat there was to keep us in the game so early on as it kicked off. After 4 minutes, Woltemade to Murphy. Murphy looking for the top corner, but just wide. 12 minutes. Murphy was in. A throw in from Tino. Murphy with the tap. It was looked like a tap in, but Sam Johnson was there to save it. Murphy should have really buried it, but it was a good save from the keeper. 17 minutes, Shar clears the ball, giving away a corner, but he did really well to get that tap in. To get that clearance in. It was going to be a tap in if he didn't. On 20 minutes, Barnes is brought down. It was just outside the box, but it was went to a VAR check for a possible red card. Let's stop there for a sec. You've given a red card for that one, boys? I thought it'd be harsh if you got a red card.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a red, to be fair.
No, I didn't think it was a red, but I do think there was a foul there. So the fact that the referee hadn't spotted it or hadn't pulled it back, at that point, that was the main issue I had with that. I thought the referee was poor today. Anyway, I thought he missed a lot and he made a number of mistakes, but that was definitely one of them. Definitely not a red card for me. But I think if Barnes was in control in any way, shape, or form of the ball, and he does that, I think then you have to ask the question because he's in on goal. But that wasn't to be the case. So, yeah, I'll leave it as that. It was definitely a foul, but definitely not a red card. That's kind of how I saw it.
See, my next line I have here, I see it's already causing a bit of conversation in the chat because I said, Trips keeps giving the ball away. I thought he in the first half especially he was poor. Got a bit better in the second half, but we might debate that a bit as well later on. Especially when we've options now for our wing backs. 24 minutes. Bruno and Woltemade 1-2 and a shot into the Wolves defender's face. That time was warranted to go down, but there's a lot of times they did go down today, the Wolves defenders. I think it was 29 minutes then. Nick Woltemade scores on his debut from a header. Murphy with the assist. Top corner finish with the header. Cue the old celebrations from Nick. Here's the picture of the goal. He did a number of them. Love that one. And knee slide, celebrating with a few more trips, and his trademark celebration there, and of course with the boys as well. Boys, like to make things go.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Probably, I think it's fair to say, probably not what Nick Woltemade is. Woltemade, not what he is especially known for. Obviously, we know he's a big lad, 6'6", but probably could be better in the air. But I thought it was an absolutely fantastic finish, and what it did display was his fantastic movements, which we know that he's got in abundance, and we saw that on display today. Jacob Murphy with a fantastic cross, and he timed his header perfectly. You watch it back a few times, and some people will say, "Oh, it's a standard header." He's got to score. From that far out, but it's how he holds the player off, and he times his jump perfectly. It's really, really well executed header. And I think I said to you boys, I think that will do him the world of good for him to mark his home debut or his debut for Newcastle United with a goal was absolutely fantastic. But fantastic movement, great ball in from Jacob Murphy, who it's great to see him, getting an assist. It was just a really clever goal, I thought, and I heard at half time Alan Shearer waxing lyrical over it, saying it was very clever movement and a very good finish. But yeah, no, absolutely delighted for Nick Woltemade, and hopefully plenty more to come. But yeah, 1-0 up, and at that point I was just thinking, right, let's get a second and try and put this to bed. That's kind of where I was when the goal went in.
Pete, happy with that one?
Absolutely delighted. Honestly, you don't understand for me how happy I am to see him score this goal. I'm so happy to see him score. Desperate for him to start. So happy for him to score on so many levels. First and foremost, it's a brilliant goal. It's a brilliant goal because it's a well-worked piece of play. Sandro Tonali is involved. He was involved in anything good today. He's just an outstanding talent. But Jacob Murphy as well. Got to give props to Jacob Murphy. He's picked up where he's left off this season. Another assist to his name. It's a lovely ball into the box. But to get that level of finish, it's not easy. The ball is a great ball. But from the point in which he heads the ball, he's already behind the goal. So he's having to generate power to get it back towards goal and then into the top corner. And Sam Johnson's a good goalkeeper. He's a good goalkeeper. He did okay today. And to beat him into that top corner, it's not easy, regardless of how tall he is. Chris mentioned about beating off his defender, all of that stuff to get that ball into the box, but to generate that power and a header. And it's the one thing I said about Nick Woltemade. For as tall as he is, he's not the best heading the board. He even said it in his interview after the game. It's an area of his game that he's working on. So he's not the best at it. But to score a goal like that, you're thinking, if that's not his best, then I want to see when he actually is working on his game and he is working on his heading. Because it'll be even more effective. But it's a brilliant goal. Loved the celebration. I loved that, Tino's up to it. We need Tino's buzzing and giving him a big hug. Joe Linton's there. Trippier's there. They're all there. And like Barnes, his arms are in the air. He's running over to him. The players knew how important this was. This is a new era for Newcastle United. And Nick Woltemade is the new era of Newcastle United. And this is why it was so important for him to score this goal today for Newcastle United. And I was absolutely buzzing for him to score it. The old celebration, that is his celebration. If you haven't seen it, get used to it. It will be back in business and many times this season. And it was great to see. I'm absolutely buzzing. It was a brilliant goal on a number of different levels. And that monkey's finally off his back. Goal early on, and you could see in his game afterwards, his confidence, his touches, his movement, like all those little things just came a little bit easier when he put that ball in the net, and that's what we wanted to see. So superb stuff, brilliant. What about you, Daz? How did you react?
I think you heard how I reacted in our chat. I was like, so yeah, no, absolutely delighted that he got a goal on his debut as well, and just eases the pressure on him. There's nothing wrong with him going a couple of games without scoring, but he's got the first one now at home as well. Takes us nicely into the Champions League game as well. His confidence will be up, and he kind of just. Like, even though he doesn't look like he's anything in his face or anything like that yet, but internally, it's a big step up for him. So fair play to him. Let's hope there's many more of those celebrations to come. Right, let's move on. 42 minutes. Murphy had a shot from range, lots of space after Newcastle kept the ball, and Bruno switched the play, but and nothing came of that. 43 minutes. Murphy had the ball in the net. So a minute after that again, a wonderful move, an unbelievable pass from Woltemade, a nice little flick at Barnes. Just took off on his run a bit too early, or was it Woltemade was a bit too slow at the flick? One or the other anyway. But yeah, unselfishly he squared the ball to Murphy, who had loads of time, and he just picked his spot at the finish. But just unfortunately, Barnes was off. And Anthony, you want to say about that piece of play? Because that was a nice move, lads.
Yeah, it was. Do you know what? It was funny watching the game. I don't know if you boys were the same while Nick Woltemade was on the pitch. We saw little bits of all the good things that we've heard about him and all the things that we know he can bring to this team. And I'm sure we'll have a proper, a more in-depth discussion after we've gone through the match. But we, as a team, as a club, as a fan base, I think we've got to get used to the fact that we've got a different type of striker. But that doesn't mean that it's different bad. It's different. It's different, and it can be better. It can be really, really good. And that little moment that you're talking about there, Daz, that just shows what he's capable of. Brings the ball down, and already he's looking to set someone away. And quite often, I think we saw that a lot. With his link-up play, it's all these little intricate passes. The clever movements, shifting the ball, either side, and being able to hold it up. That example there of when he set Harvey Barnes away. If Harvey Barnes, I mean, you could argue, like you say, Daz, it's whether Harvey Barnes timed it wrong, or do we give credit to Wolves for stepping up? Obviously to make it offside. I don't know, but it was a lovely piece of football. And I was even though when the ball went in the back of the net, I did have a feeling he was offside, and they showed the replay, and he quite clearly was. But it was just a nice little bit of play, and I can't wait to see even more of it.
Do you want to say on that one, Pete?
Yeah, no, it's what we expected of Nick Woltemade. He's almost done it or played that role too well in the build up to that goal, because what he's done, he's pulled the centre back out of position, and the centre back is probably the one player that would have kept Barnes on side to be able to score that goal. So it's kind of almost he's created a great piece or a great move. But it's almost gone against him. I don't blame really either player, because it was quite a seamless move. It was one of many seamless moves that Nick Woltemade was involved in just one quick movements, one touch passing, keeping the ball ticking over. And I liked it. And Barnes is unselfish. He doesn't always think about himself. He is an assister as well as a goal scorer. And it was a lovely finish by Murphy, and it would have been deserved had it gone in and counted, because at that point we were dominating Wolves, and Wolves were hanging on at that point. I don't give any credit to Wolves in terms of playing a high line or trying to play as offside. I think it was just pure luck that it happened. But Barnes naturally is going to make that run moving forward. It was just it was quite close. It was unlucky, but it was just what it was. It was a sign of things to come. It was a sign of things to come in terms of the way in which we're going to play under this new sort of era of football team, with Nick Woltemade playing a crucial part in that. Well, what I will say on the back of it, those types of runs that Harvey Barnes was playing, we saw that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times in the game. We didn't normally see that last season. Those runs in and behind. That's what Nick Woltemade is going to create. He's going to come short, and we're going to get the likes of Bond, Alanga, Gordon, Murphy making those diagonal runs in and behind, in towards those striking areas. And it can only be a good thing to those wingers, because those wingers should be scoring more goals off the back of it. He is going to draw centre-backs out. He is going to create spaces like that moment that we saw today that was ruled offside a lot more, hopefully, at St. James's Park, to draw those teams out that are just going to come in and sit deep and hope to hang on for something. So for me, it was more of a sign of things to come. It was unlucky, but exciting to see a different way of Newcastle United playing football. But what about you, Dad?
Yeah, no, my reaction to it was I thought it was so unbelievable, lovely little pass, and just looking forward to more of that to come, really. And yeah, that could have been our talking point of the show, but we have a goal as well from to Doug. So he's had a great day out, and what a debut for him. But 49 minutes, Tonali has a shot. Yeah, after a bit of a twist and turn, he hits the post. Newcastle then, as a whole, that took us to halftime. They were unlucky not to get that second. At the other twist of the coin, I suppose, Wolves would count themselves unlucky they didn't score in that opening 5 minutes or so. But I think, we were happy going in halftime 1-0 up. Just unfortunately, we didn't get a second. Let's move on into the second half. Second half is not as eventful. Newcastle start the second half some half chances and plenty of corners. Barnes is nearly in at one stage as well. During a bit of a scramble, the ball just gets through to him, but nearly gets through to him. The keeper just kind of collects it. 64 minutes. Willock goes on. J7 is off. J7 fine. At least he's back. Great to have him back with us as well. Actually, we need him for Barca. And Asula is on, and our goal hero on his debut, Woltemade, is off. 73 minutes. Nice move from Newcastle. Some 1-2s, Bruno to Barnes. But the shot went over. It was one of Barnes' trademark shots as well. You thought that was going to go top corner. So then on the 79th minute, Barnes off, Elanga on. 88 minutes, Bruno gets a yellow. Kind of dangerous free kick for Wolves, but they did nothing with it again. Thank God. Newcastle then kind of hanging on towards the end a bit. You kind of have, for me, I was like, memories of that Liverpool game where they hit us out with that sucker punch. So I was like getting a bit worried there. But then at the very end, Murphy came off, Sven Botman came on, and Newcastle closed it out 1-0 on for the win, getting our first win of the season and 3 points. Boys, thoughts on the game as a whole? Pete, I'll go to you first. Thoughts on the game as a whole?
As I said right at the beginning, I was just glad to see the 3 points in the bag. You touched on the second half, Daz, and you said it wasn't very eventful, and it wasn't really. Like, we probably could have scored a couple of goals, but it wasn't very eventful. But in my opinion, what I would say to Newcastle fans is get used to it. That's the kind of performance that you're going to see from Newcastle United, because that's what top teams do. They make games uneventful if they're getting points on the board. We're not going to play in high intensity, expansive football when we know we've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we've got a big Champions League game, or Wednesday, we've got a Carabao Cup game, so on and so forth. You're not going to get massive intensity, expansive football. Newcastle United knew, and I was looking at the clock, and by sort of like 50, 55 minutes, I think Newcastle had set up to go, we'll take the 1-0 win. We're happy with that. We're confident that our defence are strong enough to keep you out. And I got that impression by about 50, 55 minutes that Newcastle United were very comfortable and happy to see this game out. They were pressing. They were still doing their work. Maybe not as intense as normal, but they kept Wolves very high up the pitch for long parts of that second half and made them defend. But what it did, it took the pressure off our defence, and we just held possession. I remember looking, I think it was about 58, 59 minutes or close to the 60-minute mark. Newcastle United had something like 89% possession, which is just ridiculous. And that was Newcastle not playing at their best, but because that was how it was meant to be designed. Newcastle United have got to play smart. Remember, people, 2 years ago, we made the mistake of going all intense, all action, all out in all Premier League games, in Carabao Cup games, in Champions League games. And what happened? Injury after injury after injury. We can't afford to do that. We've got to play smart. Eddie Howe is absolutely playing a different style, or certainly having a different approach to games. So I wasn't angry at it. I was always confident. I sat here where I am right now with the screen in front of me, watching this game. Legal means, of course. And
Davies Den. Were you Davies Den then?
Yeah, of course. Davies Den, it was locked in. Saturdays are locked in. Davies Den Day. DDD. There we go. But I was never in doubt. watching that second half, never in doubt that Wolves would ever get back into the game. Yeah, they had a little bit of possession. We defended it quite comfortably. We're never in any sort of danger. And Newcastle set up for that way. And just, I might add, 3 clean sheets in 4, not bad at all. Top stuff. Reminds me a little bit of when we finished 4th. We were very hard to break down, very hard to score against. Hopefully we continue in that manner. So something to keep a note on there. And we must be top of the tree alongside, I think, Arsenal with the most clean sheets. We are going to make ourselves difficult to beat. It might not be expansive and entertaining and attractive, but it could well get results. And I think we'd all take that right now. So buzzing with the fact that we got the win. I was intrigued to see the approach of the team and how Eddie Howe set us up. It was nice to see Atula come on, Willett come on. We're going to need these boys. There is going to be rotation. We're not going to play the same 11 week in, week out, every game, Saturday, Wednesday, or Saturday, Thursday, Sunday. We're not going to play these same teams all the time. Players are going to have to come in and do a job. It's going to be a squad game. And so therefore, it was nice to see us mix it up and bring other players on to play the game. I'm happy. I'm happy with what I saw. We can now rest and recuperate and properly go at it in a massive game on Thursday against Barcelona. So yeah, happy days for me.
Happy days. Chris, before I get your thoughts, I'm going to play these little clips from, this is the first one with Eddie and Big Nick. Now you've seen Big Nick walking away. Now you want to see the Big Nick walking towards you, the opposite direction and coming out the pitch, don't you? Big man. Chris, thoughts on the game as a whole?
I like the little shoulder big man shout there. Do you know what? Similar to Pete, the second half I agreed as was more uneventful, but it was nice because I didn't feel nervous at any point. I felt like we really controlled the game. Defensively, absolutely spot on. I know Peter Moyle said in the chat that the first few minutes we looked a little bit shaky, and I've got to give credit to Nick Pope, because Nick Pope made an absolutely fantastic save, didn't he, at the very, very start. It could have gone 1-0 down after 9 seconds or something. So full credit to Nick Pope for that save. But yeah, no, I thought that we managed the game very well in the second half, and we could have quite easily got into a bit of a battle with Wolves, but it almost felt like we put ourselves in front, and you could say that half time kind of came at a bad time, really, because in those last 5 or 10 minutes we were really pushing on. Straight after the Nick Woltemade goal, we could have went on and got a second. I think if we had another 5, possibly 10 minutes, we probably would have made it 2-0. And then obviously the break came. But yeah, we came out second half, and it was very much, we've got our noses in front. Let's keep hold of the ball. Let's control the game. And that's exactly what we did. I thought Sandro Tonali was absolutely outstanding today. He probably impressed me more than most, actually. I thought, he dictated that midfield so well. But yeah, overall, I think it was a decent performance. It's probably I've had my red and blue mates on the phone already, saying that only 1-0 against Wolves, and I said, well, if you'd watched the game, you'd have seen that we were comfortable throughout. Why push to go and score 3, 4, 5, 6 when we don't need to? We all know we've got a huge game coming up on Thursday. So today was about just picking up the 3 points, and that's exactly what we did. We kept another clean sheet, as Pete mentioned. So really, the job's done. Job is done. And now it's about resting up and getting ready for Thursday, which is gonna be an absolutely huge game. Cannot wait for that. But yeah, really pleased with the performance. Really pleased with the 3 points. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the lineup will be on Thursday, because I do think that there will be quite a few changes. But yeah, this is what, boys, squad depth can do for you. It can allow you, to rest certain players, to protect them a little bit, and bring on quality from the bench that will be able to see the game out. And that's exactly what we did. Made a number of substitutions, saw the game out, and really, as you mentioned, as bar the last few minutes where you just thought, oh, this is going to be typical Newcastle, are we going to concede a goal? But for the majority of that second half, it just felt like we were going through the motions, waiting for the full-time whistle.
Yeah, you never lose that fear from the old days. Yeah, it could have been more comfortable, but no, delighted with the win, delighted with the 3 points, and delighted with we get to see one of these again, because it's been a while since we've seen one of these. It's been last season, in fact, and great to see everyone in there, including Gordon is in there. Mad Dog is front and center as per usual, and I did have to laugh at one of the comments I saw on Twitter. The two girls behind Shar, they said she'll never wash that hand again. So interesting, but yeah, that's the team forward. Anthony, you want to comment in here, lads?
I just thought it was nice to see Anthony Gordon in and amongst it. I didn't actually see that second video that you played, Daz. I didn't know that Anthony Gordon was down pitch side at the end. So again, great to see. It's funny enough. My wife Lisa, she said, "Why is Anthony Gordon there?" And I said, "Well, why wouldn't he be there?" I said, "It's right." She said, "You can't play, can he?" And I said, "Well, no, but it's right that if you're suspended, even injured, as long as you're not really, really injured, it's great when players go and support the team." And I think it's right that Anthony Gordon did that, but I think it also shows, the morale within the squad that he's doing that. So no, great to see him in and amongst it. And yeah, Nick Woltemade scoring his first goal, and Pete was right when he said at the very start, it's like the start of a new era, isn't it? It's the start of a new era, and seeing Newcastle United play probably a different way, but it doesn't have to be bad difference. It can be good difference. And I truly believe that will be the case. But yeah, great to see a win. It feels a long time since we've had one of the Shoutouts, doesn't it? So great to see. And hopefully, boys, we'll have one taken on Thursday night with any luck.
That'd be class.
Who knows?
Boys, I think we'll bring up the table. Get your thoughts, Pete, first on the table. Here it is. Boom. Right, make it a bit bigger as well so we can see it better. Not that big. And we are sitting in 9th spot there after 4 games. Bournemouth are going to win the league, and I'd be delighted if they do. But yeah, thoughts on the table, Pete?
Yeah, Bournemouth don't win the league because we're playing them next, so we need to make.
Oh, I know that. Apart from
not
those games,
hopefully not. If anyone outside the top 6 are winning the league, I want it to be us. But with Bournemouth, yeah, they're obviously doing well, but it just makes the league look a little bit better for us. It makes it look a little bit more bearable at this point. And if you look at the teams above us, the likes of Palace, Sunderland, Everton, you would expect with the squad that we've got, albeit fighting on 4 fronts, that we would be sort of fighting above those teams. And there is a sort of a change in the guard of us overtaking them at some point. It puts us right back in the positions where we want to be. You take those teams out of it, and we're fighting in that top 6, top 7 for European spots, for potential Champions League spots, and that's the area that we need to get to. Is it crucial that we're there right now? Absolutely not, but it shows today's win that we're building towards it. But that's not it. Again, away at Bournemouth, tough game. Never won there under Eddie Howe. We need to go and change that after the Barcelona game on Sunday. We need to go and get a result. We need to go and get the win. And that's what we will kick on. We've got some games coming up that are tough. But all games are going to be tough, and we need to make sure we're putting points on the board. This is about us being a regular team at the top end. So we've started off today. We've got the result that we wanted. Now we move on, obviously, Champions League in the middle of that to Bournemouth. But yeah, we're the right end of the table, put it that way, that we want to be. But we've still got a little bit of work to go. But as we'd have seen, there is chopping and changing all over the place. There are teams that you would have expected to be up there that are not. There are teams that you'd expected to be up there that are at the other end of the table. It is how it is. But, you know, if you're asking me, am I going to be ahead of the likes of Man United, who have got Man City tomorrow, the likes of Brighton, Forest, you know, you got West Ham, you got Aston Villa, all teams you'd expect to be fighting for that top half, and we're already ahead of them early on in the season, and a lot of those teams don't really look good. I'd have taken that, because they're the teams, in my opinion, that we're going to be fighting against for this season. If we want to be fighting for European football and we want to be finishing ahead of those, we're on the way to doing that. So, one big step made today, but there's a lot of miles left to go in this season. So, I'm happy with it, but I don't hold on to it too much in terms of that league position. You know, you're asking me in January, February, I'm giving you more of a definitive answer. You're asking me in March and April, I'm talking about it more seriously. It's just nice to see right now.
Yeah, I know we shouldn't really probably bring up the table this year because it doesn't really matter. But it's still, because we got a win, we're bringing it up. If you noticed, we didn't bring it up before. Chris, your thoughts and how are your blue mates slagging you off? But thoughts on where we're sitting, how it's looking now.
Yeah, I think the Blues, Daz, they're just they're really buoyant, aren't they? One of their players is one player of the month. I think that's been a long time since that's happened. So yeah, they're understandably very excited at the moment. Reds, not so much. The reason I say that is because for some reason, I don't know why, they always, when it comes to the lower end clubs away from home, because they know they're expected to win, they always stay a little bit quiet, I find, on these type of games, because I always think that they think, well, what if we only draw, or what, God forbid, what if we lose? So not heard much from the Reds this evening, I must say, but it's more the Blues. But yeah, I do you know what? And I know this sounds a bit mad, but if you'd have said to me at the start of the season, you're gonna pick up the points that you have against the teams that you have. If you'd have offered me a point before we kicked the ball at Villa Park, not knowing how bad Villa would be, or how they've had their own struggles. But if you'd offered me a point at Villa Park, I'd have took it. If you'd have told me that we were going to lose to Liverpool, but give them a bloody good run for the money, and it was a narrow defeat. Again, I think most fans would have obviously wanted to win. Don't get me wrong, but they'd have gone, well, you know what? So early on in the season, not having Isak available, to narrowly lose to the champions who've just spent near on 500 million. I don't think there's any shame in that. And then obviously getting a point away at Leeds, I do think we'll look back on that at Ellen Road and going, do you know what? It's not the worst result in the world, because it really, really isn't. And then to go and follow that up then with 3 points against Wolves, I think you look at all four fixtures and you go, do you know what? I would say we're on track. That's the message I'd be sending out this evening. We're on track, because I don't think you look back at any of those fixtures or results and go, oh, we're behind, or oh, we should have done better. Could we have done better? Could we have got more points? Yeah, of course we could. But what's annoyed me over the last few weeks is the fact that we've been lower down the table, and people have been putting the finger at Newcastle. Oh, look at Newcastle, terrible start. Oh, not good. But yet teams who are ahead of us, who seemingly are looking like they're doing better, have dropped some big points. Chelsea at home to Palace, draw. Tottenham at home to Bournemouth, lost. But people don't talk about those games. Man City at home to Brighton. But people don't like talking about those kind of fixtures. Do you know what I mean? They just look at the table as is and goes, oh, but look where Newcastle are. And you think, yeah, but if you take it all as it is and put it into context, I think we're on track. I think we're nicely ticking along, and I think things can only improve. Yes, we've got what could be perceived as a difficult run, But I look at it with half glass full, boys. I look at it and think, you know what? For me, there's quite a lot of winnable games there. So I'm going into this next chunk of games with confidence. Before the next international break, I'm going into it with confidence, and I think that we can push ourselves up the table. And as I said to my blue mate, and I'll sign it off there. As I said to my blue mate, what you've got to remember is once we're up there, we're going to stay up there. I said, for yourselves, there's only one way to go, which is down. And he didn't like that, surprisingly. But I do. I think we'll rise up the table. And once we get into those positions where we deserve to be and where we can be, I think we'll end up staying there.
So I think, just to come back on that, obviously, with Everton, Liverpool fans, it might be a little bit different with the banter, obviously, throwing about in your group and stuff. But I haven't had many opposition fans talk about Newcastle being down there. I've heard them talk about Villa because Villa have looked really bad. I've heard them talk about West Ham because West Ham are just atrocious. Proved it again today. But I haven't had them talk about Newcastle because if you look at Newcastle's performances, they've been okay.
Yeah.
The Leeds game was boring, and it wasn't really entertaining as such. But we haven't really looked like losing games. We've looked strong defensively. We've created chances in every game that we played in. I think everyone's, certainly from my perspective, you boys might be different, and I think it is with you, Chris, with obviously the Everton Liverpool lot. But I think most people that I've spoke to have understood that we've just not had a striker. Yeah. We've just missed a striker. That's been the missing thing. Now, I think if we had Wissa and Woltemade and we were still not winning matches and drawing and losing and all the rest of it, I think we'd probably get a lot of stick there. But I think most people have been more understanding. I think the summer has made opposition fans more understanding of opposition. And I think now, putting that win together, like last season, we probably wouldn't have won a game like that. You know, I look at that game today, it reminds me very much so of Everton last game of the season. Everton, because where Everton right now in terms of what they've built are different this season, but last season Everton are exactly what Wolves are right now in terms of where they are expected to be and the players that they have and the ability of their team. And we didn't win that game. Today we won the game and we looked comfortable. We never looked like losing it. I saw that as a big positive there, but I just wanted to add to that because I don't think opposition fans have been. Maybe it's wrong for other people; they might have experienced it, but I haven't had that. Certainly from the lot that I see.
It's probably because Pete, you've got reasonable, you've got reasonable and considered colleagues who you spend time with. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Mine are all assholes.
Some of mine are too, and you know some of them as well.
Sorry, Daz, you were going to say something, mate.
No, I was just going to say, I agree. Look, I think everyone knew that the whole striker situation was the thing that's holding us back. And now that we've got strikers in, and at least one that's fully fit and has scored on his debut, it's great. Now, I'm sure there was plenty of people now as well that would have liked to see for Nick Woltemade to go a while without scoring, and then to see the panic maybe from Newcastle fans and stuff. But that has not happened. He scored his debut and let him kick on from there now. So looking forward to the rest of the season.
Just to give you an idea, a little live announcement, right? So my red mate has just caught up, obviously, with the group chat, and this is what he's just written. And this tells you what I'm dealing with. The whole thing is outrageous. I've never known anyone to be so thrilled with a 1-0 win over Wolves at home. You'd think they'd won the league. 1 win from 4. That's all he's put.
I know he's not referring to us here in the channel, but he's referring to Newcastle fans. Can we not celebrate our win? It is our first win of the season.
Apparently, you're not allowed. You're not allowed.
Our main striker has scored in his debut. What are we meant to do? Be crying? Because
another clean sheet. This is what I said to the boys. I said, it's not going to be a game that lasts in the memory. It's not going to be a classic, but it's 3 points and it's a clean sheet. What it is.
Pete makes a good point though. With Europe as well, we're going to have to kind of, with European games in mind, we're going to have to try and take the foot off the gas. Look at Arsenal today. There was one other game I did watch. They didn't start Rice in that game. They brought him off towards the end or the last 20, 30 minutes. So we have to manage players as well. And that's where James Bunce is going to come in as well, big time, in trying to get over. We didn't have him the last time we were in Europe in the Champions League. So we've got to manage things. It's unfortunate that we've got one or two players injured and Gordon suspended as well. But right, we're going to get to the questions soon. But let's get the draws out of the way, boys, because we'll forget it like we've done before otherwise. So, Chris, as I'm getting it on screen, you tell the viewers what's going to happen there.
Yes. So what we're going to be doing, everyone, is there's going to be 5 winners this evening, okay? And each of those 5 winners are going to win £10 worth of tickets into that fantastic draw that Footy Prizes are doing. So in case you missed it earlier, Footy Prizes have got a huge giveaway on, and we are going to be giving away 5 £10 worth of tickets. So thank you for flashing that up, Daz. Yeah, so there's an instant giveaway. 147 instant wins actually, but it's a fantastic competition. It's lots of really fantastic prizes for Newcastle United fans, including, I've got to mention this, including a Bruno Guimaraes shirt, which also has a TV built into it. So really intrigued to see that, I've got to be honest. But yeah,
we might never see it.
I know we might never. Hopefully, one of our viewers or one of us sees it, because we've been buying tickets ferociously as well, haven't we? So hopefully one of us will see it, and hopefully it'll be a viewer, because it would be absolutely fantastic. But yeah, we're going to spin the wheel 5 times now, and every person pulled from the draw will win £10 worth of tickets. And just to remind everybody, those tickets are 39p each, but if you use the code LOADED10 when you buy the tickets will only cost 35p each. So well worth a go. And the link is within the chat and also within the show, I believe. So we'll remind everyone of that towards the end of the show. But yeah, best of luck to everybody.
Cool. So in this, there's 130 loaded ultras, including the 3 of us. So if we get, we'll have to spin again, boys, because we can't win our own prize. So here we go. Who's our first winner? And if you're in the chat, alert yourselves to us as well, because that would be great. Because you're going to have to get in contact with one of us or Chris to get it, so we can share details of the tickets that you're going to get. So here we go. First up.
Best of luck, people.
Good luck all. I'm making a note of the names.
John Burbick.
There
Up
he
the
is.
tune.
John Berber. Congratulations, John.
You're going to type it out, Chris.
£10 winner. Brilliant. Congratulations, John.
John is removed from the wheel, so you can't win again, John. Here we go. Next one.
Who's that?
Khabib Juris. I'm saying your name wrong, Khabib, but I know that you have purchased something from the loaded shop previously. I think you purchased a jacket. You're the only one that actually has that jacket. So nice one, Khabib. So yeah, reach out to us and we'll get those tickets organized for you.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
So removing Khabib. I think Khabib is in the US, if I'm not wrong. There.
Oh, right.
Here we go. Yeah.
And the third winner is
Brett C.
Brett.
Brett C. Nice one, Brett. Again, alert us if you are in the chat. So Brett C is our next winner. So that's 3, 2 more to go. So removing Brett.
Well done, Brett.
Boom. Takes a second to remove. Go. Les Higgins. Les Higgins. Congratulations, Les.
Well done, Les.
Our 4th winner. So,
last spin.
Last spin. Wait until it says removed. Here we go. The mighty win.
Oh, the mighty
The
win.
mighty win. Nice one.
The mighty win.
Fantastic.
That,
Well,
Well done. Well done all.
yeah.
Well done all winners. Great stuff.
Yeah. So congratulations go to John Burbeck, Kelly Geres, Brett C, Les Higgins, and the mighty win. So as Daz mentioned earlier, everybody drop us a DM, send it directly to me, to Loaded, to Daz, to Pete, whoever, and we will get your £10 worth of tickets to the prize draw arranged. But congratulations.
Congratulations. And we're going to have to put a time limit, boys, because the straw is fairly coming at us pretty quick. Maybe we'll say till Tuesday. Need to get in contact with us by Tuesday, or else we're going to spin again and give more prizes away. Everyone happy with that? Tuesday, close the business Tuesday. Good.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Right. Let's see. Do we have any questions, so boys?
Ooh, let me just have a little look, boys. Let's see what we've got. Well, not so much a question, more a comment or observation, and it's probably worth a little discussion, boys. So Simon Fairmont says Keith Downey reckons Johan Visser injury could be an ACL. Let's hope not. Otherwise, he's out for 9 months. Have you boys heard that? I'll be honest. That is the first I've heard of that rumor from Simon. I hadn't heard anything up until then. Is that the case, Pete? Have you heard anything along those lines?
Yeah. Go to Pete on this one.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that. He mentioned that there's been rumors of an ACL and that they are just rumors. So that was the one thing that he said. He didn't say it was an ACL. What he did say, though, that is a little bit more concerning is that he's contacted Weiss's camp and they haven't responded, which is, I don't think is like them. They would normally respond. Particularly if it was something that wasn't as serious, they would have given maybe him at least something to say, yeah, nothing to worry about, everything's okay. But they haven't responded at all, which is a slight concern from his point of view. He also said that it was a concern that Eddie Howe was almost kind of playing it down, as if like he wasn't quite sure about it, like it wasn't as big as what it was made out. Because when he normally does that, it turns out to be something quite big. And when he plays something that, when he bigs something up, like he did with Joe Linton and Sandro, saying that they don't look good, Sandro was back the next game, and Joe Linton was back the game after, meaning today. So, there's a few mixed signals there. There's talk about things that, there's talk about the things that they haven't had the results back yet. There's lots of different speculation out there. So it's hard to kind of say for sure what we think it is like at this point. But he didn't say that he thought it was an ACL. He actually said the opposite. He actually said it's just rumors that are going around right now and nobody actually knows for sure. So look, we've just got to play a waiting game on that. What I will say is if it is a significant knee injury or it is something of an ACL, then it's not even, you can't, I don't even want to think about it because it's just typical Newcastle look. And it's an absolute body blow for Newcastle United. It really is. We wanted to go into this season with 2 strikers. For me, if it is an ACL, it writes off his season. He's done for this season, in my opinion. Like, there's no way he can get back and play to a significant level this season. So already we're a striker down, and we would have to absolutely go into the January window and buy a new striker. We'd absolutely have to do that, which is horrible to think that we just paid 50 million for Weisser and we have to go and buy a new striker, but we'd have to. There's nothing we could do. Whether we'd buy one, loan one, whatever it may be, but we'd have to do that. So, not good. Not good because we haven't had confirmation on that. But it could well be that the club are waiting for confirmation. It could well come back and it's something minor. We have to make sure at this point, because all we've got is information from his international team, Congo. So we haven't got anything definitive from the club yet. So it's a case of don't believe everything. Let's wait and see. I'm sure we'll find out between now and the Barcelona game of some form of confirmation on Johan Wieser, but let's just all pray that it's something minor. Even if it's just a few weeks, I'll take that rather than being the whole season. But that's kind of what I know so far.
And Daz, I'll add a little bit extra onto this for you. If that is the case, if Johan Wieser is going to be out for an extended period of time, God forbid if it's months or even the season, do you know of any strikers who we could maybe go for in January?
We're just been out of the fully loaded transfer. We don't want to bring me straight back in again. No, not yet. No, I'm waiting because people hate us to referring to Football Manager. I'm waiting for the new Football Manager to be able to answer that quick question, Chris. Look, I said he's a target when he signed 15 goals this season. I hope he's okay, and best to look to his recovery. It must be good for him as well. Look at just signing for Newcastle and wanting to come to Newcastle all along, and then not even being able to tug out first. It's just yet. So hopefully it's something relatively minor, and he's back as soon as possible. So yeah, let's see.
Absolutely, fingers crossed. Because that would be a hammer blow if Johan Wieser was out for an extended period of time. But yeah, fingers crossed. He makes a full recovery as soon as possible. Right, I've got to give a big shout out to Malcolm Peacock, who's just become a member. Thank you very much, Malcolm. You will be added to the next prize draw, mate. You will be added to the next prize draw. But thank you very much for becoming a Loaded Ultra. Also, talking of Loaded Ultras, Samsonite Dove, who has been a member for 8 months. Thank you very much, Samsonite Dove. To be honest, I'm very surprised that I've managed to fathom what Samsonite Dove is saying here. But I think I've cracked it. Samsonite Dove has said Nick has got the. Oh,
Brentford are 1-0 up against Chelsea. Sorry.
Oh,
yes.
Well.
Interesting.
God.
Well, goal. Oh, Sade. I think it's Sade. Lovely goal.
Yeah. Good, Kevin Sade. He's a good player. Very good player. But yeah, wow. That's a turn up for the Bucks. So Samsonite Dove says Nick has got the big dick energy, I think is what he's trying to say there. Never thought I'd have to say that on a show, but it's warranted this evening. And he also says, and the Titan number 8, who I'm assuming he means Sandro Tonali, was massive. So if I'm hope I'm right there.
Good translation, Chris.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it? It's not bad. I'm down with the kids. Or something I don't say that I'm completely wrong, but we'll see. But yeah, Big Nick with a fantastic performance today. But thank you very much, Samsonite Dove, for your comments, and I hope I translated it well. Where are we next? Yeah, boys. Do you know what? Before I come to the Premier League games, I'm going to talk about this comment here that's coming from Andy Ford. Andy Ford says, sounds like Yamal is out for Thursday's game. Good news in terms of our chances of winning, but also a bit gutted we won't see him at St James's Park. And do you know what? I can kind of resonate with this because when the Champions League draw was made, and we were all thinking about all the players who we get to see at St James's Park come and play in Newcastle United. You do almost kind of want to see those players, don't you? But then at the same time, in the hope that you're going to be able to win the game, if Barcelona are about someone as big as Lamine Yamal, I mean, it's only going to help us, isn't it? But Daz, what are your thoughts about Yamal being out the game, and also in general? What are your thoughts going into that Barcelona game? Are you excited?
Yeah, definitely excited about that one. Look, we all wanted to go to that one, but none of us got tickets in the ballot. And look, if I had been going, I would have been going hoping to see Yamal in the play. But the bonus side, it increases our chances of winning because what we wanted to do anyway. But so they're playing tomorrow night, actually, Barca. So he's definitely out for that one. It's looking like, I know Pete alerted us to this today or yesterday, I can't remember. But let's see, because they have plenty of other players as well that are pretty good.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. But Pete, As Daz said back there, you related us to this today. Did that give you extra inspiration for the game on Thursday? Did it give you a little bit more hope? Or were you on the other side where you were thinking, I was looking forward to seeing Yamal play? Like how did you feel about the news? Obviously, when you saw it this afternoon,
I was buzzing. Listen, the game. He's one of the best players in the world. I'm not of this notion of I'd love to see Yamal play at St James's Park. I don't care. I want to win. My priority is winning for Newcastle United. I don't care what Barcelona team goes up. Right? If Lewandowski gets injured, great. If anybody else gets injured, great. I don't care. I want to win. I want to get through to the knockout stages of the Champions League. So for me, it ain't about, I got to see such and such play at St. James's Park. Like, I don't care. I'm not interested. I'm only interested in us getting the win. So that's what's it. And Sophie said she disagrees, and that's fine. We could disagree. This is my opinion. I want to win. My priorities is Newcastle United winning. I don't care what team's put in front of me. You're still beating the best. Barcelona, one of the best teams in the world, even without Yamal playing. Like, they're still a fantastic football team. So it is what it is. But why should I go? Or should we go? Oh no, let's not play this fixture on Thursday. Let's wait for him to get 100% fit. Let's wait for him to get back and play, and then we'll play the game then. And then when we win, it means that we beat the best. Nah, they don't work like that.
We went for Wisa as well.
Exactly. And there you go. And I'm sure they don't care about that either. And I'm sure if we picked up another injury between now and Thursday, I'm sure they'd be rubbing their hands together, because that's what's football. And football is all about whatever players you've got on the pitch, you go and win that game. It's as simple as that. We had injuries going into that game before 2 years ago against PSG, and look at what we did. They PSG were rubbing their hands together because we had injuries and we didn't have players available, and we went and wiped the floor with PSG. So it is what it is. I don't care. Now, fantastic, great, brilliant.
Johnny Student for Life has a
right minimum. Like, if we pick up a point, if we get a draw, or we're lucky enough to get a win against Barcelona at St James's Park on Thursday, I'll be absolutely buzzing. So for me, I'm not bothered. Jordan 2 for life. How are they going to learn?
Pete, I'm laughing at this because Lisa goes mad at me ever since the boys were little and summer, and she'd look at me and go, "Let them win." I'd be like, "No, I won't," because they need to learn that sometimes you lose. So no, I totally resonate with that.
I had the same. I had Lee doing this to me when I was growing up. Whether it was playing football, it made me the player that I was playing football when I was younger. Like, because I played against him and he would always beat me, and he would always be going all out to beat me. 5 years difference, but it gave me the motivation and the ability to go, you know what, I'm going to be competitive. So when I played against people my own age, I was getting the better of them, and I had a different mentality to them, and it had a different focus. It's whether it's a game of cards, whether it's a game on the PlayStation, whether it's a game of football outside, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. People have got to learn. You can't always give people the win, because then they expect to win, and then the drop-off's even worse when they don't win, because they've not learned how to lose. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, it's a life lesson. It's a life lesson. And look, we're going off topic here, but for me, I don't care. I don't care about Yamal, whether he's fit or not. Now, I will say he's not definitely out. He's definitely out of the game tomorrow. He's a doubt, and there's a chance that he won't play. But if he doesn't play, or if he's not 100%, great. We'll take advantage of that. And I'm absolutely, look, I cannot wait to see Barcelona's high line come to St James's Park, because we've got players that can absolutely decimate that high line. We saw what the likes of Inter Milan did to them last season, and many other teams that have done to them. Newcastle United and Eddie Howe will be coming up with a plan to absolutely take advantage of that. So whether he plays or not doesn't matter to me. Barcelona, as we've just said, are still a good team anyway. And if we can get anything from that game on Thursday, that will set us up nicely for then the other 6 games in between that I think are absolutely winnable. Before then, we finish with PSG on the 28th of January. So, yeah, let's get to work.
Absolutely, absolutely. And talking of getting to work, obviously once that Thursday game passes, and we get back to our Premier League football, Dale puts in the chat there our next 4 Premier League games are Bournemouth away, Arsenal at home, Forest at home, and Brighton away. So Pete, I'll come to you first on this one. If I was to ask you now, how many points do you think we'll get from those 4 games, and how many points? How do I phrase this? How many points do you think we'll get, and how many points do you want? What is it you're after personally, and also, what do you think's realistic?
I want 12 points.
And you think we'll win? You think we'll get 12?
I don't think we'll get 12, but I want 12. I think there'll be. I think we will get minimum 7. 2 wins and a draw from those games. I'm not going to say which games they are, but 2 wins and a draw from those.
Yeah, 7 points. And Daz, are you the same?
So you're asking me? Sorry, I was replying to Jordy Tube for Life. Who I'm now his favorite, by the way. I'm now his favorite. I asked the question: was I not your favorite before then? That's why wasn't I? But
at least you are now with us. That's the most important.
Yeah, at least I am now. He go easy on me going forward. So yeah, you're asking me the points total from these 4 games. Obviously, there's the Bradford game in there as well in the League Cup, thrown in the mix there as well. Between Bournemouth and Arsenal game. I can see 6 points from the way the teams are playing at the moment straight away, and Bournemouth is it's a tough game, and they're playing well as well after losing all their players, or half their players. I'm going to go 9 points.
Okay. Yeah, I toyed with 10, and I thought maybe that's a little bit over hopeful. So yeah, I think I'll settle on 7 with Pete. I think 7. I think we win 2 and draw 1, and potentially lose one of them, but it might not be the one that you all think in terms of losing. The one game I actually really, really fancy, and I think we'll go out there and do the business. I think we'll beat Arsenal at home. I think we'll turn Arsenal over. But we will see. Yeah, they are playing well.
Good squad. Well. It's a great squad to choose from now.
Yeah.
So do we have a bigger squad ourselves?
Well, this is it. So yeah, so 4 games coming up, and I think if we were to get minimum 7 points again, I think when you look at teams around us, I think we will rise up the league. I think if we were to get 7 of the next 4 games, I think our league position would be pretty healthy. I think we'd probably be in the top 7, maybe top 6. So yeah, I think that would be a decent return.
But just to add on that, just as a last point, the reason why those games are difficult is because you look at those 2 away games, Bournemouth and Brighton. They're grounds that we don't historically do well at. And that's why it's not cut and dry that we're just going to go and win. Of course, I'd want to win those games, and to be fair, we need to kind of sort of squash those myths or those hoodoos of grounds that we go to and make it really difficult to get points from. We definitely need to do that, but they are difficult grounds to go to. The positive that I'll take from that is that Leeds, which is always a difficult ground to go to, Villa, Brighton, and Bournemouth are all chopped off all before the end of October. So they're all difficult grounds that we'd have chopped off already in this season. We've already ticked off a number of difficult grounds, which for me is a positive. Now, if we can get points from those, even better. But yeah, it's not going to be easy. But if there's ever a time to play some of those teams, it is now. If we're going to take points from them. So.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And do you know what? It goes back to what we were saying earlier in the show, doesn't it, Pete? You look at those 4 games that we've had, and you would kind of say that I don't think we've gone against the grain. So for us to go away to Bournemouth and away to Brighton and pick up points, that would show fantastic development, wouldn't it? It's fantastic progress. So hopefully we can do that. because that'd be absolutely brilliant if we could. But yeah, in recent years, not been a good hunting ground either Bournemouth or Brighton for us in recent times. But yeah, if we can turn that around, that would be brilliant.
Cool.
That is pretty much it for the questions, boys.
That's it for the questions. We've the draw done. We've got the match reviewed. That's pretty much it, lads. I think we're going to bring it to a close.
Before we do, can I just give a couple of people a shout out for today?
Yeah, of course.
Because we haven't touched on them. And I want to give two players a shout out, one in particular. But first off, I want to give Nick Pope a shout out. I thought Nick Pope was absolutely outstanding today. Not just because of the saves that he made in the first minute. I thought his organisation of his defence, I thought his sort of commanding of his area was absolutely flawless. Came and made some big takes today, where they've got some big, tall, physical players. I thought they were absolutely outstanding. Yep, Sophie says Tonali. Tonali, without question. I think everyone's already mentioned Tonali, so I think that just goes without saying. But for me, I'm talking about other players that won't necessarily get talked about. Nick Pope, I thought, was outstanding. Now, there was a big question mark when he came in, when Ramsdale came in, that he wasn't going to keep his place.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I know I said when he came in is that it will give Pope a kick up the backside. It's clearly done that because his performances so far have been very, very good. People can question certain moments in games with Liverpool, whatever, but generally he's been outstanding. And to get 3 clean sheets already this season on the board is no mean feat early on this season. The second player that hasn't been talked about at all is a player that Sophie's just mentioned there, is Dan Burn. I thought was absolutely sensational today. Now, I don't know what Newcastle United are feeding Dan Burn at the moment, but his performances have been absolutely brilliant. Now, there's all this talk about Botman coming in. You boys know, and everybody knows in this chat that watches this channel regularly, how I feel about Sven Botman. But there is no way in the world that Dan Burn can get removed from this team at this moment in time. Now, the reason why I say this is that Tulo, their new striker today that played, come into the team. He's 6'5", 6'6". He's a good goal scorer that's come in with a lot of pedigree into this team. Dan Burn, after that first flick on, which was on the opposite side of the pitch, so it wasn't on Dan Burn's side, it was on the right-hand side of the pitch where he got that flick on for the early chance right at the beginning of the game. After that, Dan Burns effectively said, nah, you're my man and I'm stopping you playing. And he literally had his foot on Tulu's neck for the whole game. That guy, after that flick on in the first 10 seconds, did absolutely nothing in the game. And that was all down to Dan Burn. I thought his defending of that striker was absolutely brilliant. I thought Shaw did well as well. Shaw was very, very good. I think his distribution with the ball was excellent. I thought he played certain moments with Tulu very, very well. But Dan Burn was absolutely sensational. So for me, I had to give him a shout out because he absolutely deserves it. Nick Pope as well. And everyone will talk about Tonali and how great he is. For me, Sandro Tonali, if we haven't given him a new contract by October, we are not doing things right. He has to have a new contract. He is our most important player in this team right now, Sandro Tonali. He is absolutely brilliant. And he's a world-class talent. We need to absolutely sign him down to an extension, no release clause, get him signed up as soon as possible. Like, if we haven't done that before October, if we're going into November and it hasn't even been discussed or finalized by then, that we're not doing things right in the club, in my opinion. But other players needed to be shouted at, and those two in particular were my standouts today, alongside Sandro Tonali. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. So big up to Nick Pope. He's had all the criticism, and he's come back and he's putting some great performances in. Hopefully that continues and continues on as the weeks go on. Everybody needs competition. Everybody needs to be pushed. And clearly Ramsdale's doing that right now, which is great. Secondly, Dan Burn, absolutely sensational. Long may it continue. He is absolutely in the twilight of his career right now, and he is playing the best football of his career. And he just looks unplayable at the moment. And long may it continue. But before we wrap up the show, I had to say that because those two, for me, deserved some praise for their performances recently, but in particular today.
Do you think? Oh, go on, Dad. Sorry, mate.
No, I was just going to say that yeah, and the key word that you mentioned and all that was competition, and we have competition all over the pitch now. Definitely in most positions, and I know a few players can play in a couple of positions. So no, it is good, and it's getting the best out. Even Char as well. He's got Chow on the sidelines as well, ready to jump in if things don't go his way, and he did well as well today. But sorry, jump in there, Chris.
No, mate. I was just going to ask Pete off the back of what he said. I'm in complete agreement with it. How significant, Pete, do you think it is that Dan Burn, in the twilight of his career, has had this England call-up? Because Dan Burn's been absolutely brilliant since he's pulled on a Newcastle United shirt. That goes without question. But I kind of feel like, since he's got into that England fold, like I was watching today. I think it was in like the first 10 minutes, and he's on the ball, looking composed. And I don't know what made me think it, but I looked and I thought, Dan Burn, England centre back. He's an England centre back, and he now looks to me like an international defender. Do you think that's like risen his game in the sense that he's taken on this mantle, and he knows that England have got some pretty good defensive options, but Thomas Tuchel's come in and gone, you're my guy, you're part of this leadership group, and I want you involved. And he's clearly been picked in some really big games for England as well.
Yeah, I think what I think it is with Dan Burn. And he's almost touched on it in I say a couple, but quite a few actually interviews since the cup final. It's almost an acceptance that he's capable of playing at that level. I think he needed the call up to England to basically reaffirm to himself that he's good enough to play at that level. I think there was a level or a lack of confidence that he felt within himself that he could play at that level. So the fact that he got the call up, the fact that he's been given the trust of the manager and then played the games that he has at England level has given him the confidence to go, you know what? I am an England player. I am an international level player. So therefore, I am capable of playing at a level at Newcastle United, which is challenging Champions League and playing against these elite players. It's almost been a realization for him since March that he is actually capable of playing at that level. And the cup final solidified that. His performances for England and then Newcastle, the back end of the season, I think have solidified that for me. But to then go on, and for me, since last season, he seems to have kicked on a level again in terms of his confidence in the way in which he plays. I think it's commendable, and it's refreshing to see. It's refreshing to see a player at 32 years old or 32, 33 to be given that sort of level of responsibility for England and going, you know what, you're capable of playing at international level. I don't care what age you are. I need you. I think there's a place for you in this team. You won't play every game, like you didn't play in Serbia, but there is a role for you in this team, and you are good enough to play at this level. That's all Dan Burn ever needed. He got that from Eddie Howe when he initially signed. You are good enough to play in my team. You are good enough to get us Champions League. He went on and did it. He then went and played Champions League. Then the back of that, he's then gone and played on international football. So he's constantly, throughout his time at Newcastle, been given the confidence that he can play at this level. And I think that's the key. Sometimes players need to know from people around them, particularly managers and players, people of importance, that they are good enough. He's been given that now. And I think the performances after that have been a reflection of that confidence that's been instilled in him. So I think that's what it is. That's just my observation on it. But more of the same, please, because I'm really, really pleased. Look, I love Botman. I think he will find his way into the team at some point. But if Dan Burn keeps playing like this, he's going to have to wait a little bit longer. It's as simple as that, because we have competition for places right now. This squad is very, very strong, and I'm glad that. But Botman is behind him, chomping at the bit, because if it keeps Burn playing the way he is, Shaw the same, Pope the same, it just means good things for Newcastle United, and that's the most important thing out of it all.
Yeah.
Right, boys, we're bringing it to a close. Thanks for watching. Make sure you smash that like button on the way out. If you're new, subscribe as well, so you'll get the notifications and everything like that. And as we mentioned, get on that draw with football prizes. And if you've won something tonight, get in contact with us, because we need to sort out those tickets for you. we'll be back during the week. More to come on that as the week progresses. But as a little bit a taster, let's play out with this as we go into our Champions League week. Good night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.